Hi, John.
Hey, Alex.
Do you know what I hate?
What's that?
Jesus. I fucking hate Jesus.
Oh, really? What did you do this time?
I mean, the same thing before. Like, basically, he went out of his way to curse a spear, and it's really ruined a lot of comic books and various nerd media ever since.
He went out of his way? Did he have anything else he was doing that day?
I don't recall any of us going, oh, please, let's have a random savior god come out and damn all of our souls by default.
That was me. I did say that.
Oh, I didn't realize you were an ancient Jew.
Yep.
Yeah, who watched Constantine?
Sorry, I've been wandering for so long.
Oh, I've heard about you.
And then you'll burn in hell. No evil, don't you see? No evil, burn in hell. Down on me. You're gonna burn in hell. No evil, don't you think? No evil, burn in hell. 'Cause I'm free.
All right, so we watched Constantine, the 2005 movie with Keanu Reeves, Shia LaBeouf inexplicably, and
Rachel Weisz.
and what's her name? Who was Gabriel?
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton, who I kind of am in love with in this movie.
Yeah.
She's so great and like androgynous and weird, and you can't really tell if she's like a good or a bad guy, and she's great, and you can't tell if she's a guy because she's an angel, and she kind of looks like Bowie, and it's like everything me in high school ever wanted.
Yeah, I think you would. Have you ever seen the movie Orlando?
No.
You might enjoy that. It's a little piece of queer cinema made by Sally Potter, where Tilda Swinton plays an immortal nobleman named Orlando, who halfway through the movie just becomes a woman. Like, just wakes up one day and it's a woman.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's strange, but she's great in it, and I'm always happy to see her. She's been in a few sort of gender bending roles. She was the old man in Suspiria.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't see the Suspiria remake. I've seen the original.
I like both for different reasons.
Yeah.
And actually, I like her, and that whole casting might be my least favorite part of the new one, but it's still, like, she still does a decent job.
Yeah. Tilda Swinton's great. I like her in this. So here's some things about this before we start. You've never seen this before?
No, I'd seen it like years. I mean, I
Okay.
didn't remember anything about it.
I think you've frequently complained about
Yes.
the Marvel.
Oh.
Yeah. Hi. Fair enough. All right. Next episode. That you don't like the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is DC. But anyway, I feel like this is like a glimpse of an alternate universe of. Not to say that this is like a great movie, but I think the way this movie was made and the kind of, I don't know, the steps it took and the kind of dangers it went for, like it went for it. And if this was more successful, I think history gets rewritten and the Marvel stuff isn't what you complained about.
Well,
when they would realize, oh, comic book movies can be incredibly weird and violent and
And I think there's this movie, like, thought was put into it. Like, the way stuff looks. I don't always like the way it looks, but at least, like, there's an attempt at style there.
Yes.
It's not just this sort of house style that a lot of movies have now. They're all kind of similar looking. Like, this tries to be a little bit more almost noir-y, which I enjoyed. It really made sense to me when I found out that the guy who directed this directed I Am Legend. The way that Hell looked, for some reason, I was like, oh, yeah, obviously that's the I Am Legend guy, even though it's a completely different look. But I don't know, something about it struck me as very similar. Francis Lawrence is the director of this, who did also the Hunger Games movies.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Those are better than they have any right to be for what they are. They're actually pretty watchable.
I just saw the first one, and I spent most of it asking my sister questions because she'd read the book, and so I don't remember much about it other than me being probably annoying during it.
Yeah, especially considering it's like an incredibly simple plot that you could totally get from the movie.
I didn't understand why, like, the people in charge, what they were doing. I don't.
I mean,
remember.
you could pretty much get it from the title.
Yeah, but just that, like I didn't understand just like the logistics of everything.
No, I got it. Yeah. I'm sure I'd read the books first, so I'm sure it'd be the same way. The original concept for Hell was going to be basically an entirely flat plane that's just kind of covered in oil, and it's just all black.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'm like, I actually really like the Hell stuff in this movie, but man, I kind of like that a lot.
That's kind of arty. That's like not to just mention other movies, but have you ever seen Under the Skin?
Yes,
with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Like that weird black place that she takes people to. Like that's weird and creepy. And I would have liked that. That could have worked. for this
Yeah.
movie. I mean, it wouldn't have been as, maybe as visually as exciting as maybe they would hope for something that it seems like it wants to get be more actiony.
Yeah.
And there are other times where it's because like so many of the things he does, like I like how the occult stuff is honestly kind of silly and a little bit inventive about how he like goes about fighting these things. But then it's like, well, can we have a gun that shoots fire at people? That sounded like almost like a studio note or something. Like I don't remember much about John Constantine. He smoked and he was British. That's most I remember about him in the comics.
I certainly don't remember the amount of gadgets that he has in that. I don't think that's in the comics.
Yeah.
But I think for how different this character is from Constantine in the book, it does have like the soul of it feels the same to me, which is kind of hard to land. I mean, also I'm so distanced from, I used to love those books, but that was 20 some odd years ago. So I think some of my, and I also cared about things back then, which I stopped doing.
Which I know that if my recollection is correct, that John Constantine in the comics was a little bit more like, wry.
Yes.
But I kind of like this one that he's this dude that's kind of haunted. And I don't, yell at me if this is how it was in the book, but I liked how in the movie, how it's revealed that Keanu Reeves' character, John Constantine, has had visions like his entire life, but he just didn't know what they were. And to try to escape them, he tried to kill himself. And turns out what he was seeing was angels and demons and all that stuff. But because he tried to kill himself, like, whoops, he did successfully because he was dead for a little bit. But he's like damned forever because of that. And he can't be redeemed because he doesn't have faith because he knows. And you can't have faith if you know. I like that inescapable thing.
I like that you can't have faith if you know part. But in the comic, no, it's very different. And this is the thing that nerds bitched about. So in the comic, he didn't have visions all of his life. He just got into the occult and a spell went wrong and basically had a little girl get sucked into hell. And he's been, and all of his friends keep dying around him. But I think that's somewhat shown in this. I think you kind of get the vibe, but like the fat priest in this, it's kind of a combination of a few of the characters from the books. Yeah, it's like this little girl, I forget her name, but like he's constantly whining about her because, he damned her soul to hell for eternity. Which, I can see how that'd bother you a little bit.
Sure. But I just like this, like as far as this being a little bit more of a noir thing, that kind of existential crisis he has.
No,
and it's rather like, it's not necessarily like things that he's done in terms of like, like, oh, I did something terrible in the war, but just like, what happened to me? Why am I like this? And it also, it also makes a little bit more sense in terms of the theme of the angels and devils toying with us, that it seems like perhaps he was created for this purpose and he might not realize it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as a laugh, they went, well, what if we just did this to this kid? Let's see how that would go.
No, I like the change because I think the Constantine from the books, which I think they pronounce Tyne, and I think there's actually a line in the comic to like mock the people that pronounce it our way in the movie way. So we're right, they're wrong. The creator of the book is wrong.
Harkonnen.
Exactly. No, I think because there's basically a lot more religions in the book. This movie is very, obviously it's Christian. Or, a Christian, worldview or whatever. I think it would be too much to try to explain something that happened in the past. So the only way to do it is, I've seen these since I was a kid. Like, that's efficient storytelling, kill yourself. Like, and it fits within the worldview of the whole Christian thing. Because trying to explain, like, oh yeah, I was like in a punk rock band, and then we got into the occult, and then I summoned a demon, and the demon killed this little girl, and she goes to hell forever. And now I trick 3 different devils into to curing my lung cancer, which is what happens in the books. Which, beautiful, beautiful thing in the book. But you can't do that in a movie. That's right there. What I just explained is 4 hours of film.
Right, yeah.
And trying to do it in 90 minutes or whatever. I can feel all my old nerd friends yelling at me for saying this, but I think what they did, it's kind of like we were talking about with Dune, where the shit that changed from the book to the movie kind of had to, or you couldn't film the fucking thing. And for this is a live action version of Constantine. I think this is what you had to do, is to change it around a little. The only thing I would say they made a mistake on is Chaz didn't need to be in it.
Yeah.
He didn't need to be, like, especially, or just, cast somebody else.
Yeah,
'Cause I hate
Shia
looking
LaBeouf
at
is
him.
not particularly great. Yeah, and I do have the like Adrian Brody thing of like I just don't want to be around this guy.
Yep.
I don't like him.
Don't like his face, don't like his acting.
Yeah, and he's not particularly great in this, and he doesn't bring a whole lot to it.
Let's-
I would have rather the priest guy hang around longer.
Let's do an early, it sounds like I'm making a joke because there's no other way to do it, but did you sit for the after credit sequence?
I did.
So, I mean, the movie's from 2005, so we don't have to say spoiler alert, but like, so Charlie LaBeouf dies in the movie, and maybe we'll get to it. It's not really that important of a scene, but at the end, Constantine visits his grave, and he flies out of the grave with angel wings, because he's now an angel.
Is he an
Why?
angel or is he a half breed?
Oh, yeah, I guess he's a half-breed. That's a good point. Sure, he's a half-breed.
Okay, I mean, that's a legitimate question. Like, I don't
No,
know.
I think they made it pretty clear, and I mean, not at all, but I mean, they did say that, like, the real powers can't exist on this plane, so only, like, the half-breeds and stuff can go through.
Right.
So I'm assuming he's, like, a half-breed, or some permutation thereof. But, yeah, that was real dumb, and I don't know why that's the...
Yeah,
I mean, they're not even, like, setting up a sequel with that. It's just a dumb scene to have.
Yeah, which I don't like. It's some of that's perhaps true to the character, but it's just a certain kind of guy. But like, so they kept it that Keanu Reeves smokes all the time. John Constantine smokes all the time. But just like the flair with his lighter and all that is such a particular kind of nerd that I just hate.
And that's from the comics. Yeah.
It's just like, okay, that's not as cool as you think it is, man.
Do you watch Doom Patrol at all?
No, I've not. I've read some of the comics back in the day, but I don't.
Mark Shepard is in it in some episodes. You know who that is? He's a character actor. He's in every sci-fi thing ever. He was in, I don't think you've ever seen Supernatural.
Nope.
He was in Firefly, which I don't think you watched.
Who was he in Firefly?
He was like, I wear a bowler hat. I possibly have an Irish
okay,
accent.
yep.
That guy is in like every, but so anyway, the point is in Doom Patrol, his magic is cigarette based a little bit too. So it's to smoke a cigarette and then just run it down the universe. And now it's a portal and just step through.
Okay, that's cool.
And that's a little more kind of constant. I think the character is just basically ripped off of Constantine, but it's that kind of thing, but it's also like the showiest, like, he does Ponzi lighter tricks, which by the way, I knew a lot of Zippo tricks when I was young and a smoker.
Oh yeah, I mean,
sure
like
that's not surprising at all.
Yeah, I had Zippos, several Zippos that I lost almost immediately. I think I wanted to know Zippo tricks, but I just never did.
Oh,
I think the most I could do is the snapping to turn it on.
I could do the squeeze down where it like pops open.
Oh, man.
I could do like the cool like on your jeans thing where you're like, oh,
yeah.
And I had one where like you can open it with your fingers kind of splayed. And it turns, drops, and then while it's dropping, you can hit it.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
And looking back on it now, I can't even imagine how I've ever had sex in my life.
Yeah, no,
because
like,
I did that like in front of people.
Like there is a subset of people that is cool too. I don't, I'm assuming still now. I don't know with the young people and their vapes. Who knows? But and particularly in our time, like there was a. Man.
I wonder if there's anybody out there listening that thinks that stuff is cool or sexy or whatever. Remember, I'm super single, and I probably can still do it. I've got a Zippo somewhere in here, and I can try to show off.
Yeah, just send them links to your katana reviews on YouTube, and you guys can hit it off from there.
Yes, that was a funnier line than I gave it credit for. Because when I heard katana review, for some reason, Kotaku is what I was thinking of. I thought you were referencing a specific review site, not just reviews of katanas, which is a very funny joke. But I just, in my head, I was like, what's katana? Oh, it's probably something John knows about that I don't.
From Mortal Kombat.
It's probably from like Discord or something. But anyway, speaking about who sponsors us, Patreon. Patreon.com/AlexBollen, ALEXXBOLLEN. That is our Patreon. I probably should change the name at some point, but every time I think about doing it, I realize that there's a bunch of episodes that I say the name, and also I would have to
it's fine.
Do work. Yeah, but it feels really, every time I do it, it feels awkward because like here's our Patreon. It's my name.
Yeah.
But
this is me endorsing that Patreon. If that bothers you at all, I don't care.
Yes.
Sign up for the Patreon.
You should do that. There's a bunch of bonus episodes, especially October. I think we did like 3 or 4, like, or
I mean, mine
more
were,
than 0.
were small.
Yeah,
so
we did a small one. We did a review of Blood and Donuts, a fun, adorable little late 90s, mid 90s vampire movie. Anyway, the point is, sign up for our Patreon. Even if you don't want to listen to stuff, like, just support us, because you might notice that we haven't had ads. We had 4 episodes with ads over 100 and whatever episodes. Mm-hmm. So, like, just think, how many Casper mattresses you're not hearing about. So like, just maybe just throw us
We
a
have to
couple
sleep
bucks.
on every single one that you don't hear about.
Yeah, you know that thing where it's like if you don't like your mattress, they'll donate to like a charity. We're the charity.
Yeah,
My entire apartment is filled with Casper mattresses. Just help us. I don't know how that works, but anyway, the point is patreon.com/AlexBoland. Follow us on Twitter at JawsPod.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we finish an episode, and I do all this at the end, I'm like, I don't listen to the end of like 90% of the podcasts I listen to.
Uh-huh.
I really should do this. Okay, the early set piece is a guy in Central Southern America, or do they establish it's Mexico?
It's Mexico.
Okay. Finds the Spear of Longinus, the Spear of Destiny, the one that stabbed Jesus, hidden inside of a swastika flag. And I guess
Under a church.
Under a church. So here's, I guess, the main thing. Well, one, that's why I kind of thought it wasn't Mexico, because like, why isn't that just Argentina? That's where all the
Yeah.
Nazis went. That just, it doesn't matter. But so the point of the Bible is the New Testament is that Jesus comes to earth and sacrifices himself to cure the sins of humanity. That's the fundamental crux of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the thing that helps him get to his narrative evil? Because everybody writes that stupid fucking spear as being this powerful evil thing where just, that's like the main plot of, that's how you...
There's two things.
Yeah.
One, so he was supposed to be killed by crucifying, but then that soldier came up, stabbed him, kind of rooked him out of the all the pain and suffering.
Okay.
So that's evil.
So mercy is evil.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean,
because
that does
it
fit with
wasn't-
later
but it-
religious
yeah,
studies. that I'm
but it
aware of.
wasn't done out of mercy. It was like, aha. It was the guy was twirling his mustache when he did it. I think that's in Luke.
Well, that's only in the Hell Bible.
Well, I was going to say,
Yeah.
second one is there's a separate Bible in hell, so it might have a little bit more to go on there.
Yeah, fair
you know.
enough. Yeah.
So it might be that Jesus was like, hey, buddy, please don't stab me. And I was like, I'm going to stab you, and then stabs him. They cut that out of
Okay.
our Bible.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Because I get like the pieces of silver.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's like straight up, oh, I sold you out. Even though that needs to be in the narrative. But like, that's got a little bit more of an evil intention. This is like, oh, wait, you're saying the executioner killed him before he died of suffocation after days on the cross in the Middle Eastern sun?
See, I never knew it was supposed to be like evil. I just thought it was imbued with blood power.
Well, I mean, the guy
With the
picked it up,
blood
like,
tinge.
immediately goes on, like, a rampage.
Oh, no, well, he golems out, like,
Yeah.
fully. But, like, I also couldn't tell if, like, so was he just like, oh, man, I'm keeping this, and then when he walks across the street and gets hit by a car immediately, was he already evil at that point, or is that, like, killing him turned him evil?
Oh, I think he's evil, because he gives his friend a look that it's like, I bet you if his friend
Yeah.
said anything, he would have snapped his
I mean,
neck.
because
Yeah.
the car also, like, dents around him, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably that, but I just didn't know if, like, in that split second, it was like, the demon was like,
I mean, it
gotcha.
could be. I have no real evidence other
Yeah.
than,
I mean, there's
you know,
neither do I.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was...
I just lived through the Trump administration, and I saw something from Mexico, so I just assumed they're evil.
Yeah, they're some of whom I assume are good people.
That's one of the better effects. So this movie is a tale of two kitties.
Garfield too.
Yes. That crash looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the visual effects, when they get super weird, I think hold up super well. Like, the hell stuff looks great, but then there's stuff that it's like, oh, this is 3 years too early. Like, there's that devil walking through glass
Yeah.
moment. There's the guy's face on the table.
Balthazar, yeah.
Yeah, where it just looks
It's not
so bad.
Like, it's cool you went for it, but yeah, it's
But
just
you,
not,
I mean,
yeah.
it's 2005, but like 2008, they would have been able to pull it off.
Well, it's. I honestly would have liked it better if it was more practical. You know
Oh,
what
I mean, no,
Like,
that'd
that
be great
would've-
too. Yeah. Because there is a lot of practical effects in this, which
Which that's something that absolutely should not work in this movie, but does. The lead singer of Bush is Balthazar.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, like what?
He's good.
He's like for what he needs to do, he's fine. Like,
Oh
it's-
shit, that is him. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gavin Rothdale or something like that.
Ex Mr. Gwen Stefani.
Oh shit, that is him. Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I think I knew that when I saw this originally. Yeah, he's good. You know what? Yeah, he's really, wow, that's crazy. Because he, of the two kind of demonic characters we hang out with, him and like the devil shows up later.
Mm-hmm.
Not the devil, he's like a famous actor.
Peter Stormare.
I didn't think he did. I didn't like it. I don't
Yeah.
want to blame him because I feel like maybe he's doing what the director told him, but I don't think that didn't fit for me. That just felt really
but
awkward.
isn't that devilish?
No,
Isn't that the master of chaos?
no, Mr. Shyamalan, it is not.
He apparently, according to him, anyway, the director, the filmmakers wanted to have him like more punked out almost, like shirtless with tattoos and like a spiked collar, something like that. And he was like, no, what if I wore a linen suit and had my feet be gross? Which I think if his feet are oil, and that was the initial idea, was that a field of oil, that would make more sense. I liked that look. I thought that was cool. But I thought I liked his lack of eyebrows. I thought that was a cool choice. And I liked how they made him more annoying than just like, oh, I'm suave and evil. That he's just irritating. Because I would hate that so much more than just oh, look how devilish I am.
But that's why I thought the Bush guy, I thought he had a good temperature.
Uh-huh.
And the devil just kind of, I guess it's the devil, so you have to up it. I don't know. That performance annoyed me. And the look's great. I mean, I like a suit like that. I mean, that'll win me. I'm a Paul F. Tompkins fan.
But just the oil covered feet, like particularly like even, that when it was inexplainable, when it was, just like, why are his feet gross like that?
Yeah.
Right before I knew this about the field of oil thing. I thought that was really kind of cool.
The feet thing has nothing to do with the field of oil. That's supposed to be some kind of bile that's dripping from his body.
Whatever. I thought it was cool.
I don't want my explanation of the field of oil to be, because I think maybe that also may have been just the way they described it, not necessarily oil. But who cares? There's some practical effects and some CGI, but I love the initial exorcism scene.
Yes. The whole idea of like the demon being under the skin, trying to get out was very effective. Particularly when he punches it's coming out of the girl's neck at the beginning. John Constantine is doing an exorcism at the very beginning in Mexico. Yeah, this demon is trying to get out of this woman's neck, and he just punches the demon in the face. And it was the way it was cut was very effective because you don't actually see him make contact, but you still feel how. It's fucking nasty.
Oh my God! Sorry, John and I are drinking these Pacific sparkling sodas, and I hadn't gotten to one of these yet. Yeah, it's crisp cucumber mint. I didn't even check it before I opened this one. Oh, that is really, it is what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
That is crisp cucumber mint. Mm-hmm. Those are not flavors. Unfortunately, we don't have that many left, so I'm going to be forced to drink this, but that's not very good.
Yeah, no, it tastes like we used to have a whole bunch of mint growing in our yard, and it just felt like being a kid and being like, oh, mint, it's going to taste like toothpaste. And then it tastes like plant, like toothpaste.
Yeah. So what was it say before I took that sip? Sorry, that was horrible.
About him punching the demon in the face.
That's what's great about Constantine in this is not. I was going to say misogyny, but it's not misogyny. But
he correctly hates women.
He will punch a woman in the face, or at least a somewhat female presenting angel in the face. Punch that lady in the neck, and they don't make him. He doesn't go for the girl. Like there's so much sexual tension between them two. Mostly just because Keanu is just a frothing pot of hotness, and she definitely had a heartbeat and was in this movie. But they had some steaminess, and they never kissed. They never go through with it, which this movie could have easily fucked up, and they didn't pull the trigger. And I really like that. I think that helps with the character. Just there's something about him not thinking with his dick is a nice.
It works for his character because he is this guy who's seen it all, knows where he's going, knows that he's doomed to hell and is going to die, and is kind of just trying to get out of it, and isn't he's not trying to prove anything to anybody. Like he knows this is, but like at the same time without being like all like world weary the way that these kind of things generally present someone like that. We're super cynical and crummy, where he's just like, no, this is what it is, and I'm just going to get this done and do what I need to do to get this done. Yeah, and I like that. I thought that was that could be read as somewhat flat, I suppose, but I found it very interesting.
No, I read it the same way. I like that, and also I think that as much as the character is kind of a bit of a scum bum, setting it up as him kind of being heroic in the shadows and not trying to take credit for it really sets up and allows for his character to do the sacrifice at the end. It's not just, oh, I'm in love, so I'm gonna, like, you actually see the, not necessarily growth, but that somebody like that could make that decision. And that's a delicate balance. Cause again, much like if he got the girl or whatever, like this could have turned out to be such a, like if this kind of what we were saying before, like if this were a Marvel movie, it would have ended so much worse. It would have just been this super happy, whatever.
Yeah. Like his redemption would have been a lot more of the him like ascending to heaven kind of thing rather than him ascending to heaven while giving the devil the finger. I thought was pretty great. But just at the end, how he's more just like, he knows that he's not out of the woods yet necessarily because the devil made him live. But I like that he stopped smoking. Like that's really the big change. It's just like, I'm going to stop smoking.
I'm on the fence about the stop smoking because I do like it, but I think there is an attraction that if at the end of the movie he just lights another cigarette, like literally this entire course of events didn't do anything for him. He's just, oh cool, I got new lungs.
Yeah.
In the comic, I said it before, but to tell the audience at home, when he finds out he has lung cancer, what he does is make a deal to basically he sells his soul to 3 different devils, so that if anyone tries to collect it, he'd start a war in hell, so no one could actually collect on his soul. So he's actually has 3 different personifications of evil going after him, but since no one can do it, that's his big trick, which they kind of simplified this, but it's sort of, kind of.
Yeah, which as you brought up, this really is based on a sort of a Christian dichotomy of the angel and the devil. It's like, well, where does Papa Midnight fit in all this?
Yeah,
because he's more of a voodoo kind of dude.
Well,
or am I just being racist and reading that into him? And he's a papist.
Now, this is gonna be the first time I've ever said this on the show, but I don't think you're being racist here. Voodoo has its origins with like some like Catholicism shit. I think it's kind of like overlayered on there, so I don't think they're like mutually exclusive. But I do have the question of Constantine is from, well, no. Let me rephrase. What happens to Hindus?
Right.
Or like what happens to Native Americans that were alive before Christ? This is more of a question for outside this movie, but this movie establishes that it's firm. It is, there's heaven and there's hell. So what? So just all Shinto go to hell?
Well, but it does sound like though that, so if this is true, then the creation myth is basically true. And that, cause even, Tilda Swinton towards the end, Gabriel says, like, she makes it a point of like, that all of you were forgiven from Christ's, sacrifice, including murderers, molesters, I believe she says, and papists, which I like how they specifically just mention how fuck you Catholics, but they're fine. You can just worship whatever you want. Christ has already saved you, I guess. Although but they also say you have to have faith. So, so I don't know, because if you're, I guess you can be a murderer and have faith. So, and answer your question, too bad, I guess. Sorry, like 2/3 of the population.
Well, could you be a murderer? Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch her body. I know that everybody doesn't have a body like me. Baby, no, it's nowhere in the holy text.
This would be the 3rd time I've heard that song in the last 2 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm happy to ruin your life for you. So the exorcism with that girl is great. I like the putting them in the mirror, but the mirror CGI. It's such a weird looking demon that you can kind of get away with how janky it is, but like it's very 2005. It's very like what that looks like in a modern video game.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer that all the demons look like that. They all just are missing the top of their head, and so I didn't know if that was supposed to be some kind of reference to something of some kind of.
They called them they're like worker demons or something like that. They're like the everyday
right,
whatever.
But it's the idea that like you're occluded from knowledge, so you can't be saved, or
I don't know. I mean, that scene guy was all about knowledge. That was like how he tricked those idiots in that fucking that backyard.
Yeah, I just don't know why they are all missing the top of their head. I just don't symbolically is that supposed to mean something? Or is it just like this design looks cool? Because then when Mammon shows up, got his whole head.
Yeah, I'm guessing that I don't have an answer.
Okay.
But what I do have is my next point. Oh, here's a line that I need an explanation of. He's talking to Mutt in the cab. Mm-hmm. And he says, you're my sidekick. You're my Tonto. You're my Robin. You're that skinny fellow with the fat friend.
Uh-huh.
Is that Laurel and Hardy?
David Spade? I don't know.
I don't get it, but I don't understand.
I'm assuming Laurel and their power differential, like they're the same, Laurel and Hardy.
Or maybe Abbott and Costello. That's a fad in everybody.
But
the point is, why not name the? I don't understand what the is that
to promote conversations like this.
All right,
make you think.
Yeah.
Thank you, Francis Dormander. I don't remember the name of the guy who made this movie already.
My next note is that Tilda Swinton is looking Bowie as fuck. She's great. Oh, it's I really liked, and I liked it besides it having the dumbest name in the history of naming conventions, is his friend in the bowling alley.
Yes.
The guy that's into insects.
Uh-huh.
And his name is
Bug Man.
His name is B-Man.
B-Man, that's it.
No, but that's his real last name.
Yeah.
In it, he's B-Man. It's not like that's not a nickname.
Right.
Like the guy that's the bugs named Beeman.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. What do you call it? Nominative determinism?
Yes, it is nominative determinism.
I also like that he gives him the Constantine gives him the toy that moves when you flip, and he's like, excellent. And it never really did they explain why that was?
Not in the movie, and I don't remember from the books.
Because I loved that he was just like, hell yes.
Yeah.
And then they never told you why.
What do you think he fucks him?
No.
Oh, all right.
Because it was sitting there, clearly unfucked on the table.
I didn't think that either. I was just
he just likes those.
I was just testing you. I'm not turned on. My cow is going moo. Yeah. So I love bowling alleys as a set. It is something I enjoy deeply. I don't know why. I think they're very cinematic. Like I love the long walk down behind the pins and the setting area. His office is like steampunk and awesome. I want to live there so much.
Well, and I like Constantine's actual sort of office / bedroom thing where there are all the 5-gallon jugs of water.
Yes.
Of holy water everywhere. Because it makes it just seem like he lives there, but he doesn't live there. You know what I mean? Like, does he have a bed? I don't know.
That's a good point.
But he's all about that demoning.
There's a small, and I don't know if it's I bet you it's set dressing, but when he's looking at the kind of metal shutters, you can read attorney at law that's scribbled on the window from the outside. And that's just so lived in and great.
Yeah.
This movie looks awesome, by the way. We really should point that out. There's one of the early, demon encounters. He's with Angela in the streets, and they're sitting in front of like this religious iconography thing, and they've got like a Mother Mary posed between them in a window in this like kind of garish Christmas lights way. But they shoot it. I'm like, this is gorgeous. Like, what if? Like, I can't believe this is a fucking DC movie.
Yeah, I like the color scheme of it a lot because it'll go for some of the more cool noir tones versus the like. Sun-blasted Mexico stuff, or the way the hell looks. The one thing I don't like is that this director, cinematographer, whoever, big fan of like extreme close-ups, where like characters will be like right up close to the camera, and the camera will like cut off the top of their head, and there were a lot of times where it just felt like they were too close, frankly. But that's just more an aesthetic thing.
No. On that note, though, as much as I think Keanu is an attractive fellow, he is not shot attractively in this movie.
No,
there's a lot of awkward angles on him. There was this downward angle where his hair just looks like Nicolas Cage hair. Oh, which is not something you want. Something you want. Yeah, or like Giorgio Tsoukalos from Ancient Aliens. Like,
it
just had this puffy. It was just weird because it's you're not obviously he's probably got bad angles and he just knows how to not do. But it's just weird to see him from that. And there was this one where you can totally see he's got acne scars, which I've never noticed. I've seen him in a million things. I've never noticed that. And it's just
he's not human. He shouldn't have those.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just, it just shows how unique the angles are in this film, that somebody that you've seen, I mean, I've probably seen hundreds of hours of Keanu Reeves stuff over the years. And the fact that I'm picking up on in fucking Constantine.
Right.
Yeah.
But speaking of shooting, I like that when you're introduced to Rachel Weisz's character, Angela, he's in confession being like, well, I shot another guy today.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's because she's a cop, and that's just what cops do. And then it's like, is it weird that she keeps shooting all these people, or is it weird that she feels bad about it? Like, what's the problem here?
Yeah. I guess we should talk about Rachel Weisz. I think she's fucking terrible in this.
I don't think they give her a lot to do. Yeah. I think I like her a lot as an actress. She doesn't have the same kind of like charm she did in The Mummy, or like not as good as say what's that one that she was in recently with Emma Stone, The Favorite. She's kind of there to be eye candy and wet. Because there's several scenes of her being damp. She's fine. Her character has a cat that looks like one of my cats, so I thought that was cool.
Oh, that was a great scene where Keanu is holding the cat and staring into its eyes, and that's how he goes to hell.
Yeah, that's a thing where I love. It's mentioned the John Constantine kind of doing silly things to go into the occult stuff being kind of silly. It's like, I'm gonna put my feet in water, with my shoes on, and then I'm just going to stare this cat in the eye.
Oh, yeah.
And the movie does it. It doesn't give you like a wink of like, isn't this kind of silly? It just does it. And like, I appreciate that confidence of going like, no, this is the thing I believe. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but we're going with it.
Yeah.
And I hate that. Like, I saw a thing in the new, not to just immediately shit on Marvel, but there's a thing in the trailer for the new Spider-Man where they make fun of Doc Ock's name. And it's like, yeah, you guys named him that. Like, this is old Marvel stuff, and now you're like too good for it? What the hell?
Just, sorry, small side, I know you yelled at me for this before, but that's not a Marvel movie, that's a Sony movie.
Whatever.
And Sony making fun of Marvel makes more sense. Your point is fair.
Yeah.
It's technically wrong, which is the best kind of wrong.
Didn't they buy them out? I forgot.
No, they bought the rights to use Spider-Man, but it's still a Sony Pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like Marvel presents Sony's
Right.
Spider-Man.
But I mean,
or something.
yeah, it's
no,
still-
your point's, yeah.
yeah,
It's just, I saw a chance to be pedantic and I went with it.
Okay.
It's
No,
as is the remit of the show.
That's true. Anyway, now how about her teeth?
You know, actually, I saw Keanu's got a little bit of a wobble tooth. I noticed in this because again, they shoot him from weird angles.
Well, I noticed it more with Gavin Rossdale's with Balthazar when his face is split and he's got some goofy.
Oh, does he?
It's designed that way, like it's part of the makeup.
Okay. I thought you meant like.
I was like,
actual
I
Gavin
wonder if
Rossdale.
Alex is going to talk about the teeth.
No, I mean, I can forgive a demon. Oh, the other thing I like about him staring at the cat or whatever, one of the things this movie does is they show time dilation. How when you're in like the other world, time travels very differently. And I like the way they showed that, like a drip slowing down, and it was a cool mechanic, and they didn't lean on it too heavily.
Yeah, like it's like all his adventure happened in the span of Rachel Weisz closing that door. And yeah, that was kind of, and that whole trip down there to hell was just to get information about where she lived. Like that, to get the little band around Isabel's arm, because Rachel Weisz's sister in the movie twin sister has committed suicide, and which I like when they cross paths, and then shit like John Constantine starts helping her when they go to the scene of after his priest friend dies.
Yeah.
The cops are like, yeah, just dig into that crime scene, just explore the space, man. Like, don't even worry about it. No, we're not going to try to stop you at all.
That was a great scene where the guy to his perspective, he can't drink anything. Mm-hmm. And he's opening these bottles and spilling it out. And the second he puts it back down, you see that there is liquid coming out.
Yeah.
And they explain later that he drank himself to death in like 4 minutes or whatever. That's cool. I've never seen that before.
It's very brutal.
Yeah.
And I also like, because they use that to explain that the half-breeds that try to tip the scales down here on the earth. You see Balthazar being the bad guy, but then the liquor store owner is an angel.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the guy selling you booze is an angel.
Yeah, no explanation of that either. I think we skipped over it in sequence, but there's no bar in cinema that I want to go to more than like the weird double bar that you have to be psychic to walk in.
Yeah.
There's just like demon lesbians making out and just crazy. Here we're gonna have like a blood orgy. Like,
some of it's cool, but some of it feels like you'd be at a bar with a bunch of magicians when they're like, "Look at this," and you're like, "Oh, I don't care about this snake, man."
Yes, but
You
I
see
got
some
no
cool
argument.
stuff. You see some cool stuff.
I mean, I'm a fan of stage magic.
See, I like close-up magic.
Oh yeah, well. How about this for a flourish?
Oh my God!
I just flicked John off using my middle finger that was previously not held up thusly.
Ooh.
I did it. Consider yourself owned like the devil in that room. So I love that bar and the entrance to seeing Papa Midnight. I love this in pretty much any movie, but there's this pan across the room to Midnight sitting at his desk. And it's such an actor thing of just like, you could tell he's ready for his big scene. It's like this built up and you could tell, like, it's just the way he's sitting. He's like, oh, I'm about to do it. I'm about to own this thing.
Oh boy.
I always love that because somehow it just kind of comes across. And that guy's good. Like, it's totally, it's for what he has to do, which is not much, but he was good.
Yeah. That I actually would have liked Midnight Madness more before every character's big speech. They like lick their lips and rub their hands like, okay.
Midnight Madness, I don't think is what you meant to say.
Oh, Midnight Mass.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
I'm thinking of Medieval Madness.
Yeah. It's weird. That's actually what I thought of when you said that. The other time he goes to see Papa Midnight, he demands that he go into the chair. And this is so stupid too, which is great because again, this movie's delightful and how it just goes for it.
Yeah.
So in order to like harness the I don't know. I don't even know. Do you remember why he needs to go to the chair? Is
The chair, I don't know if this was his express purpose, but it seemed like the chair was, so he gets to sort of go between worlds, and it somehow put him in contact with, he got to see the path of the spear, like how the spear ended up.
Oh, that's right. He basically got the backstory. Yeah. But I just
He's
love
had
that,
the backstory chair.
that he sits in an electric chair that killed 200 people and then puts water on the ground and Papa Midnight just drops a bare light bulb.
Yeah.
That's the big occult ceremony.
Yeah. And how it's like, are you sure about this? No. Zap.
Yeah.
And that's like, that level of comedy was great for it, because it is just this like, yeah, I don't know, I have no idea if this is going to work or whatever. It's not this, goofy Ryan Reynolds thing about it. I can't praise this movie enough for that, which is faint praise. It's more just how bad things have gotten. But I like that it had goofy things happen and it just went with it.
Yeah.
And I like it when they do that. Particularly because, I think, there's a lot of goofy stuff in the occult, as I'm sure you know. But like when he's hurting that demon by putting a little coin on his head at the beginning, like that's silly as hell, but it rules.
Yeah, no, I like that. That actually reminded me of The Mummy, where the one character's got all the various religious symbols around his neck. That Constantine's just holding him up to the sun to find out which one works. He's like, oh, apparently you're an Assyrian. All right, let's do this.
Yeah.
There's a cool sequence where Angela's being pulled through buildings.
Yes.
Really nice. Like, good effect.
Yeah, like it's I'm still not entirely clear what happened there, but they're in they're just like in an office building, right? Because they went to go see Balthazar.
Yes.
And some demonic force just hurls her through wall after wall after wall after wall. But it also seems like whatever is doing it is breaking the walls, not her. So it's one of those you're not going like, well, how did she survive?
I think that's supposed to be Gabriel.
Okay.
I think that's supposed to be like, that's the power of an angel, pulling you or
but
whatever.
Just that was, and just that it kept going. And you just see these shots of Keanu Reeves like running through all the different holes that it left behind. I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, it looked good. And I do like that they pulled them through an office that kind of looks like the office from The Matrix, which, I mean, I maybe just all offices kind of look alike a little bit, but I was like, oh, that seems like a fun nod.
Yeah.
But nice, beautiful, like kind of miniature practical effects mixed with full scale Keanu running. This movie, it's kind of surprised me. I guess it's that, CGI is not that good quite yet. So
I can't say that I really loved this movie, but it's got a lot of discrete elements that I enjoyed.
You know what? Here's something that, talk about making cumsies. Watching Shia LaBeouf being slammed to the ceiling and then the floor and then the ceiling and then the floor, and him having so much internal damage that he dies. Oh, that felt good.
Yeah,
that was nice.
That was
to
a
watch.
nice little thing. Although I did like his move right before that, which was to fight all the demons that were waiting for Mammon in the hospital. How they just blessed the sprinkler system, basically.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah.
That felt like a very D&D move. Like, oh wait, I can just do this than having this giant fight, which I liked. But but
it also wasn't even like, it's not that killed all the demons. He still had to go through and shoot them with his gold cross gun.
Well, it made me think of the blood shower thing in Blade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gabriel shows up and we kind of figure out what's happening here is that Gabriel is trying to bring the devil's son into the world and, for reasons. And then much like myself, John's answer is always more suicide. And he kills himself again as a way to, basically trick the devil into showing up and be like, look what your kid's trying to do. He's like trying to take this fucking joint over. A nice little sneaky thing, very John Constantine.
But I also like that Constantine, we didn't talk about this, that Constantine doesn't want to go to hell, not because he doesn't want to die and go to hell. It's because he put so many demons back in hell.
Yeah.
It's the whole, like, I can't go to jail. I put people there,
yes.
Or sending Batman to Arkham Asylum. And I like that there's an extra level of self-interest there, not just like, oh no, my soul. It's more like, it's going to be so bad for me. Like you, an average person going to hell, is going to be bad, but oh my God. And and the devil shows up because the devil said he'd be there to pick up John's soul himself. And that's when Peter Stormare shows up. And, and again, with sort of the Mammon, only having, like, he just looks like all the other demons, but he has the top of his head. I kind of wish there was a little bit more to him.
Yeah.
for being the force that he's supposed to be. Because you really only see him.
But he's like barely born at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Because when you see him like when in the reflection when Peter Stormare like kind of has him, it's just like, oh, he's just one of those guys.
There's a cool sequence here where the devil's the Mamon's trying to get out of Rachel Weisz's stomach, and that's where time stops when the devil walks in. But it starts with the skin being pushed up and seeing the hands trying to come out.
Yeah.
That's some ballsy stuff for 2005, and I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And walking through the glass looked 6 months before they could have pulled that off perfectly. Like, it's so close to being good.
It made me think of Big Fish when he's walking through the popcorn and he
Yes.
shoves in the popcorn. I was waiting for him to kind of do some more of that and just like kind of swim through the glass.
There was a cool spot where he kind of has like a crown of glass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's purposeful or I'm reading into it, but it looked kind of neat.
Yeah. But so Tilda Swinton's whole thing was to help get this going was that basically she wanted to make everyone, she wanted to bring about hell on earth basically to prove one way or the other people were good or bad because God loves them. And so she was like, well, I'm going to make you be something that worthy of his love.
Yeah.
You know, was that it? Did I read that correctly?
I don't really, I think, yeah, it was something like that or like, yeah, you have to like suffer to deserve it or something.
Yeah.
I didn't really, I mean, she just looked really cool. I didn't
Yeah,
really
it was
care.
cool, yeah.
I was just like, I just keep saying stuff.
And then when she is defeated, like her wings get burned off.
Yes.
Like I felt bad. Like when
Yeah.
just the stumps are there and you're like, yeah, that just seems uncomfortable.
Yes. It is gross and also kind of, God's a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, and the fact that she, I keep saying she just because it's Tilda Swinton. At the end is basically like, hey, you should totally murder me because this sucks.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
And then Constantine's like, no, bye.
No. What he does is punch Tilda Swinton in the face and say, feel that? That's pain. Get used to it.
Right.
But then the best thing in the universe happens is we see John and Angela they're the focus shot, but Tilda Swinton just backs up again and goes back in the pool for some reason.
Yeah.
And I just like that so fucking just sneaking back into the pool is, I don't know why, but that really delighted me.
Just cowering away. Yeah, Tilda Swinton, I kind of wish I understand why they didn't, but I wish there was more of that character.
How did you like he goes to hell, blah, 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 to save Isabella, where he gets like super heavy and the devil can't drag him anymore? That's
Well, because it was funny because I was thinking about that, how I like that there wasn't, you don't see a representation of God necessarily or like angels. The angels that you do see, the half-breeds, whatever, kind of have these gray wings. And that God or whatever you want to call it, the way that, he stopped the devil from like trying to get John's soul was just he made John super heavy.
Yeah.
And he can't drag him across that. Like that's, rather than being a physical manifestation of like a hand coming down and being like, I don't think so. I liked that. But then when he started like to float up into heaven, I was a little bit, that undermined that a little bit. But heaven was still just kind of like this weird purple.
Yeah,
thing.
the only reason
He's
I
basically
forgive
going
that
to
is
Cloud City.
the only reason I forgive that is because he's flicking him off. That's just that's great. No, I like the getting heavy. It's again that kind of just stupid enough, but not so stupid that it's annoying. It's it's nice.
But it also makes sense for how God would work, where it's like just needlessly, like you could have just picked your God. You just picked him up or just, gone, no, shove it all. No, I'm just going to make him kind of heavy and make it irritating for you. Which again, like with the themes of gods and devils being just irritating tricksters, I thought worked.
So the devil takes his cancer because he's like, dude, I know you're going to fuck up and get damned again. So I'm going to cure you, which is, I think, I like that as a plot beat.
Same thing with that kind of like tricksterism of just like, you think you've beaten me? Look, I'm going to do you a boon that's actually going to fuck you over.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to end up back with me.
So the movie wraps up with, he gives Angela the Spear of Destiny. And I don't really understand the logic behind this.
Yeah, well, that she's, I don't know, she could bury it, because if he knows where it is, that's bad, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this guy that just sacrificed himself for the good and God basically forgave. Yeah, that's not who you want to have.
Well, but like, he's probably more at risk than she is, because people are going to assume that he has it. And he's got people after him where no one gives a shit about her.
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
And he can probably lie about it.
Yeah, lying though, that brings you to hell.
The spear of latitudinous or whatever.
Spear of ratitudinous.
Yes.
It's just got a picture of Bart Simpson on a skateboard.
Yeah, give him a shock of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so there's Constantine.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I didn't enjoy it that much. Like I
really?
said, like, there's discrete things about it I like. And maybe it's just my setup. I felt like I had to turn it up so loud. Maybe I'm just going deaf.
I think you might be going down.
Okay, because it felt like everyone was doing ASMR. Like, because Keanu kind of talks like this anyway. But then it felt like there were a lot of scenes where Rachel Weisz was kind of doing this too. So, I don't know.
I don't think I noticed that.
Okay, I'm just going deaf. It's fine.
I don't know. I'm constantly bitching about that with Christopher Nolan mixing.
Mm-hmm.
This one I thought was reasonably clear.
I could very well just be that I'm an old man. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't want to believe that.
Well,
I want to
too
believe you're
bad.
young and cool.
Nah, sorry.
I enjoyed this movie a
Yeah,
lot.
it's fine. I don't dislike it. It was just there. It didn't, like I said, there are discrete elements I liked about it, but I didn't necessarily have a great time throughout it.
Yeah.
It's a bit uneven, and
It
thought
is
parts
uneven,
of it
yeah.
were very boring.
What I was saying before about how I wish this was the start of, I wish this was Iron Man to DC, where
Mm-hmm.
they took this, they used the kind of thematic and like the risk-taking nature of this, and that's how they set up the rest of their movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would have a really interesting DC universe based on this. Because, I mean, this is, like, one, cigarette smoking, they're so tame, the DC movies, that, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is, I think that makes you PG-13 immediately if you smoke
Yeah.
a cigarette. So, like, there's I mean, there's not necessarily blood, but there's kind of blood. There's dark themes. There's like, it feels like this could have been the foundation of something good, and it wasn't. It was
Right.
just some movie, and most people forgot about it
Yeah.
until the think piece is coming out now saying
Well, they're making like a second one or a TV show or something.
there already was a TV show
Okay.
a few years ago. I mean, unless another one's coming out, but there was a few years ago. There was a Constantine show which was really good. They got canceled, and then that character showed up on Legends of Tomorrow as John Constantine, and he's been a regular on that show ever since. Maybe not ever since. Maybe he pops in and out. I don't know. I don't watch that show anymore.
I see. Well, apparently there's a Constantine 2 in development. I don't know when that was announced or when that was last updated, but
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if one comes out. It's not like you need to be young for this role.
Well,
Keanu
and
can
it's
play
not
it,
like-
evergreen.
we're just reliving the last 30 years over and over and over again.
Yeah, but at least this one was like a nothing movie, so I don't mind them making a sequel to something like this.
That's fine.
Instead of sequelizing or like remaking like beloved stuff, like remake stuff that like almost worked. That's
That new Ghostbusters movie is getting thrashed.
Oh, is it?
Everyone was like, it's like just wanking over Ghostbusters.
All right. But I mean, wanking over Ghostbusters, that sounds nice.
Yeah. No thanks.
Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
Stay
Oh,
Puft.
there's some Stay Puft Marshmallow Man NFTs you can buy.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go to hell by killing myself after John said that.
Yep.
John,
Yes.
do you have anything to recommend to the viewing audience at home, and they're not viewers?
Right. The ear viewing
Yes.
audience at home.
They should have a word for that.
Man, yeah, I wish I would have thought of this before I sat down. Because what if I watched that's any fun?
Okay, I'll go first.
yeah.
And you think about it while you're doing that. What I want to recommend, and tell me if I did this on the show. I don't remember. Did I recommend Taskmaster on the show, or that was just over
Yes.
text to you?
No, you did.
Shit. Because I remember texting it to you. That happened on the show too?
Well, no, you texted me before the show, but you did mention it on the
fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's something embarrassing I'll tell you guys about. This is more, it's better than it has any right to, because it's based on a video game, which nothing based on. But Netflix made a show based on League of Legends called Arcanum or Arcane.
I think it's just Arcane.
And it's actually kind of good. No, it might be because I don't know anything about League of Legends, so like, I'm not bringing character to it that actually would make me go, oh, this is terrible and you're ruining everything.
Kind of like with this movie.
Yeah. Like watching this without knowing the source material. So I don't really know League of Legends. I don't know anything about League of Legends. I've heard those words put together. But this is like a pretty well put together kind of animated thing. The two lead characters are, I don't know, pretty compelling. I like it, and it's much better than it should be. I'm recommending it, but in a very like, this is what it is like if you have time. Like not like a take time to do this. This isn't
Not a full-throated recommendation.
yeah, like this is if you're as bored as me, you should totally just watch this. Like if you have like all of your time is devoted to just not killing yourself from depression, you should watch this. 'Cause
Take a break from
you
that
have time.
and watch this.
Yeah, like if you have like loved ones, a fulfilling career, hobbies, maybe you probably don't have enough time for this. To
Right,
be honest.
right.
Yeah. But that's not me. That's not what I'm describing. I'm describing, my life is like an infinite room, which is a thin sheer of oil, just all black and just staring off into the distance.
Starless and Bible black.
Yes. And interestingly enough, somehow you echo too. You just scream out, someone help me, help me, help me.
And you just hear yourself.
Yeah, which is weird because there's nothing to echo off of us. It doesn't work.
Only your own sense of despair.
It's so profound. God, I really need to die soon. So, John, what are you recommending?
Great British Bake Off. I really haven't watched much lately. I did have the wonderful experience of being able to see Mulholland Drive on the big screen in 35 millimeter at the Hollywood Theater, followed by a performance in-house by Rebecca Del Rio, who sings the Roy Orbison cover in the movie.
Oh, cool.
And she's got an amazing voice. So definitely that was one of my favorite movies of that year. It still holds up. It's weirder than I remember. And it was fun to see with other people and talk about it afterwards. Because I haven't done that in a long time. I mean, I know that's what we do on the show, but just that like immediately walking out of the theater and being like, what did you think that meant? And all that stuff. With like a big group. That was neat. But Rebecca Del Rio, check her out. I think she has an absolutely fantastic voice. She was on, she sang that song that she was featured on Twin Peaks: The Return doing, No Stars. It was like episode 10 or something like that. But whatever, she's great. So check her out.
Just on that note, just so we could end it real quick, Twin Peaks: The Return finally got around to finishing it. Hard pass. Really didn't like it.
Man, we could do a whole episode about that.
Nope, I'm good. I have nothing to say about it. It's just, I watched the whole thing. Like, I didn't enjoy 70% of that. And there were some very good parts. But man, this is David Lynch in his full, just not respecting the audience's time, just doing nothing.
I do think there are some things that I don't like, but some things I also like. I don't like probably due to limitations that they had and like availability. Like I think part of the reason it was so focused on David Lynch is because he's like, look, I know I'm available, so I don't have to fight with that schedule. But no, I think it's amazing. But
all right. So anyway, once again, John's wrong. I'm right. That's it. Well, no, it's not it. We're going to tell you what we're going to watch next. So, John, what would you like to watch for the next episode of John and Alex Hate Stuff, available on all streaming platforms as well as Patreon?
I would like to watch a little something called Tenet.
Wait, let's Christopher Nolan this up. Can you just say I want to watch again?
I want to watch.
Wait, John, I could barely hear you. Oh, this is perfect.
It's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Tenet with those guys in it. Those two dudes.
I haven't seen the movie. I don't know
Robert Pattinson and the other guy, the guy that was in Black Klansman. I don't like him very much, but
no, whatever. We're watching Tenet. It's going to be Tenet, right?
Tenet, not Tenant.
Yeah, which is the Ninth Doctor.
T-N-E-T.
Yeah. So he's not going to meet up with Rose Tyler.
There's no way to be sure.
I hope at the end the Robert Pattinson turns into I don't know, Jodie Whittaker. I can't think of the name of the current doctor.
And cries.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do that. It's going to be great. And we will talk to you. I mean, we won't talk to you. Well, you can talk to us though.
Yeah, feel free.
At JawsPilot on Twitter, John Alex Hate Stuff on Facebook. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.